right, we move swiftly on. So we've got an update for you all next from Origin on their beta trial. So please welcome to the stage Steph Marks from Origin and Peter Rowe from NatWest Group.
Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you. Just to let you know, we will be primarily slide-based, so you may want to not look at beautiful Peter and myself, but maybe the screens. It's nice to meet you all. Thank you for having us today. Some nice, friendly faces in the audience, which is always nice. I'm Steph Marks. I'm the Planning Director at Origin. I'm joined today by Peter.
I'm sitting down.
I know, but I don't know. We can do whatever.
Okay. Morning, everybody.
Peter is from NatWest, for those that don't know Peter, heads up media there. And we're going to talk to you today about Origin. Really, the purpose of today is a bit of an education job for those that don't know much about Origin. Hopefully, you'll learn something new today. For those that know a little bit about Origin, maybe you will learn more. So thank you to the team that came before us. It's interesting. It sets the context of kind of what the industry's after and what the industry needs. So, what is Origin? I mean, to put it most simply, it is just a single source view of your total campaign reach across multiple media channels. I've worked in agency life for 25 years and have been running campaigns, reach and frequency. I know what it is for press, I know what it is for radio, I know what it is for TV. And every client, to the end of time, has said to me, but what is my total campaign reach? I've been like, I don't know, sorry about that. But now, through the work that Audience Project are doing as well, and the work that we're doing at Origin, that is now possible. So Origin takes in all of your first-party data, alongside with a Kantar panel. We run it through a virtual ID model to ensure it's all privacy safe. And we can now allocate all your impressions to the right individuals to tell you exactly what your unique campaign reach and frequency was. So why is this important? I think the way media is planned and bought, it's continually changing. There are new media owners every single day. There are new media channels every single day that we've never heard of. And it's getting increasingly harder to find those people that we want to reach and find them in the right places. I think the siloed nature and the walled gardens of some of the platforms that we have to operate in make that even more difficult for us to do that. So this has kind of come about as a need that's been, advertisers are saying this is something that we need. Peter, maybe you could talk a little bit about kind of how you got involved with Origin.
So you see the slide here from the WFA, and I think, first of all, there's a kind of global aspect to it, that this is all born out of advertisers' needs. So everybody's asking the same questions, and there's lots of different companies trying to answer the same thing. So what I really like about Origin being the UK component of this WFA principle is that it's born out of need. It's a really, really audacious goal to try and solve this problem. And if I'm looking at the slides, the bits I really like is the trust and transparency pillar and the comprehensive nature of what we're trying to achieve. So that's why I think it's so audacious. It's really, really big. And then just moving on to the slide, you'll see NatWest, where I am, we're one of 35 brands participating in the beta trial. And if you're looking for optimism in this world at the moment, and everyone needs a bit of this is a world first. So the UK is doing something globally for the very first time, and I think that's super exciting. What I love about Origin is it's quite altruistic. So all parties in the advertising landscape, whether you are agency, whether you are a brand, whether you are a media owner, a media platform, everybody's leaning into this. Everybody's providing their expertise. Everybody's providing their money. And that's from day one to the point where we are now, which is coming towards the end of this beta trial and starting to get ready for a launch of an MVP.
Yeah. Brilliant, thank you. So yeah, as Peter said, we're just coming out of beta trial at the moment. So if you were to run any Origin campaigns today, some of you in this room may be doing that already. We probably represent around 60% of the UK advertising spend, mainly through Google Meta and your linear TV. Hopefully by the end of 2025, we'll have more digital partners on board, such as TikTok and Amazon. And then obviously, ultimately, we're looking at cross-media across all platforms. So that is the vision for Origin. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is kind of what you actually could get out of Origin today, so in its current use case. And I think it's worth remembering that Origin doesn't give you a right or wrong answer for anything. It is just about surfacing information that is additive to information that you already have, but it just gives it you in a different way that you've never seen before, and it is new data that you've never seen. And actually, every single advertiser has different communications needs and different media strategies. Origin isn't going to tell you what's right or wrong. It's a bit like, I often think about it as a criminal case. Like, it's about breadcrumbs, it's about evidence. Like, what am I seeing? And what lines of inquiry does that open for me? What questions can I answer, or what further questions do I want to answer? So today, we're just going to show you 3 use cases of what you could get out of Origin. So the first one is literally your campaign reach and frequency. As we know, historically, we've planned in isolation. So you'd have like, vendor 1, vendor 2, vendor 3, probably figure out who they may be. This is all synthetic data, so there's nothing in here that's any client's real data. But what I know from this is that I know I reached a minimum of 31 million adults, which I can see from vendor 1. But I don't actually know how many adults I did reach. I could kind of add it together, but it's probably not going to be right. I definitely didn't reach 49.7 million because some of those people in that 31 million bucket were probably also in the 5.2 million bucket and were probably also in the 13.5 million bucket. So it's just incorrect for us to assume that. So through the vid model, for the first time, Origin can tell you what your deduplicated campaign reach and frequency is. So what you can see in the middle Venns there is that actually you didn't reach 49.7 million adults, you reached 40.1 million. What we can also therefore do as well is look at where that crossover is happening. So I know there was 9 million of crossover, and I can then also break down between which vendors most of that crossover is happening. And crossover might be brilliant, might be exactly what you want. You might want to be getting unique reach, but at least you know, at least you've got an understanding of where that information is. We can also look at which channels delivered the greatest unique reach. So which ones are giving me most bang for my buck. So in these examples, the coloured bars represent the unique reach. So I know that if I hadn't run my campaign with vendor 1, 22.2 million would have never seen my campaign because they weren't featured with any other channel. Now, for the traders and the buyers in the room, this is really interesting because you can start to overlay your costs and start to look at the cost effectiveness of all of your channels. So actually, if you're only interested in unique reach, that gives you a different lens of which to look at those vendors. And actually, vendors that you may have considered not effective for your campaign may actually look really effective if you find out that they're offering you a load of unique reach. So it's just different information surfaced in a different way for you to make more informed decisions about. Peter, you've seen some of this work today. Is this kind of additive for you? Is it new?
Yeah, it's additive. I think it's not trying to replace anything that we use currently, but as getting access to this beta trial has given us an opportunity to look at Origin data and compare it to everything else that we see, and then being able to feed back into the Origin program to make sure that what we're seeing is validated and is true. So it's adding another layer of robust analysis to what is core to media, which is reach and frequency.
Thank you. So other things you can do in the platform are kind of really standard things that you've been able to always do. So just kind of looking at your cover build, for example. But what you have here on the dotted line at the top is actually your real campaign cover, so your net total campaign reach. You've never been able to track that before. What you can see from this example is by week 7, like vendor 2 and 3 were kind of not really contributing any more reach by that point, so maybe the campaign stopped. Maybe you wanted your reach to build quicker than it did, so maybe you should have ramped up some of your vendors at the first few weeks. So it just gives you an opportunity to look at the flighting of your campaigns and understand if kind of it's tracking versus what you were hoping to do from a planning perspective. And then likewise, from a frequency perspective, if you were trying to drive an average frequency of 4, what you can see here is the grey bars are your total campaign cover. So actually, your total campaign for 4+ was probably just over about 15 or 16 million, whereas your 1+ was at 40 million. So maybe you wanted more frequency. In which case, look at those crossovers. Go back to that 9 million of duplication. How can you increase the duplication? How can you build your frequency more? maybe 1+ reach was your priority, so you might want to focus on more of that unique reach. So again, it's just giving you a different lens of which to look at this data to make informed decisions about your media plans. Hi, thank you. And then the final one, which is one of the real benefits from Origin, is Origin serves you all of your data on a second-by-second basis. So unlike television previously, which comes on a minute-by-minute basis, you are able to compare apples with apples. We put a lot of scrutiny under digital video in terms of its delivery of completion rates. So one of the things that you can do in the Origin platform is filter all of your data. So all measurable impressions is everything you bought, everything that was delivered. But you can also filter it by the MRC standard or also by your own kind of completion rate. So in this example, we've looked at the 100% completion view. So what this tells us is of the 40 million people that we reached with our campaign, we actually know that 33 million people saw the campaign through to completion by week 11. So that could be a great stat, could be a poor stat. You will know what you wanted for your campaign. You know, it helps inform more decisions about creative as well. You can break that information down by vendor, so you can look at different vendors and see how they compared. So in this instance, I can see vendor 1 had a really high completion rate versus vendor 2. So you may be asking, did I run the same creative with each of those vendors, with each of those media owners? Was I using different formats? Did I buy or target them in a different way? It just helps you try and unlock and understand some of the behaviors that are happening when it comes to your creative work. So that's it, really. That's our examples. Just like 3 simple use cases from Origin that we feel are really pretty additive to what you could get today. Anything you'd like to add, Peter?
Just that we've seen so far a small window into what its potential could be, and that we're looking at the rollout of the product itself and developing the functionality of the platform, but also developing, increasing the coverage as well. So on the roadmap, and the team at ISBA will be able to take people through it is, you know, what's coming next. So, you know, right now I'm looking at linear TV, YouTube, and Meta, but I'd expect that to increase over time. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's we're finished. Any questions, give us a shout after the session. Thank you, everybody.